Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to another episode of The Voice Show. And on The Voice Show here at Science TV, you are with me, your everyday host. My name is Videliz Njoki, and that is my sign name. So welcome to The Voice Show, where we try to embrace, at the same time, we try to make sure that we create awareness about different topics and different issues, different perspectives in our society today that we always discuss. So I want to welcome you to our show that always airs on our screens on Friday at 8 p.m. At the same time, if you are unable to catch the Friday 8 p.m. show, don't worry, we have you covered because we have a repeat that always airs on Sunday at 8 p.m. at the same time, The Voice Show here on Science TV. And today I'm very excited because, as you can see, we have a guest with me today. I want him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome.
My name is Banard Mbuya, and I'm a person living with epilepsy for the last 18 years and counting. Even now I'm still on medication. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Bernard, for that introduction. I believe our viewers have got that name, Bernard, who is a person living with epilepsy. Could you please tell us a little bit about what epilepsy is? Because I know some of our viewers here have no idea what epilepsy is.
Okay, epilepsy is a neurological condition that affects the brain. When you get any sort of injury on the head that reaches the brain, you can get epilepsy. Yeah.
Yeah. So does that mean that you just woke up one day and found yourself with epilepsy, or did you get an injury? So how did you get epilepsy?
No, for me, I was injured on the head. It was.
You fell?
No, not falling. I was hit by somebody on the head, and then after I'd been taken to hospital, even undergoing brain surgery, then I was later diagnosed with epilepsy because the injury affected the brain.
Wow, I'm so sorry. Meaning that you went to the doctor and then after the surgery was done, and the person who was responsible for hitting you in the head, were they there during this process you were in the hospital, or do they know what happened to you? The person who hit your head, do they know what happened, or was it by bad luck, or was it intentional?
Not really, because this is something that happened during the post-election violence. I think you remember the 2007, 2008 post-election. So I could not even know who hit me, because it was during that period, and it happened in a crowd. So I did not even identify the person who hit me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry for that situation that happened to you. So could you please also, tell us or explain to us how the health process has been, traveling as someone with epilepsy for, you said, 18 years now. So how has the experience been? Please share with us. How do you feel? Do you feel healthy, or do you feel that the condition? So share with us your journey as someone with epilepsy.
Okay, for that period, after I was diagnosed with epilepsy, I was put on medication, and for that period I've been taking medicine. Up to now I'm still taking medicine. So that is what has kept me alive and has kept me going. So with the medication, when the medication is working for you well, you just feel fine, and you can do your work. You can work well, and you can just live your normal life. Except for few occasions where you can get seizure attacks here and there, but when you recover, you can just continue with your life normally.
So you've said for the 18 years with medication, you know, life has continued very well and has continued normally. And when you have the medicine, then it helps your life, you know, continue as normal as other people. You progress like any other person. So I wanted to ask you, 18 years now you've had epilepsy. From that time that the accident happened, could you share with us a condition where you felt maybe that this has affected your life, maybe from the work perspective, or at an individual level, or with the society around you?
Okay, my life is generally affected. It is not the same as before I had not been diagnosed with the condition. So it has generally changed, because at first I had to quit employment because I could not work in a workshop environment, depending on the work I was doing before I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So it changed my life generally. Yeah.
So meaning, did you yourself resign, or did the boss, you know, kick you out of the job?
No, I cannot say that I was kicked or my work was, but the condition I was in at that time could not allow me to continue doing the same work I was doing, because it was risky for myself also. So I considered that it was risky, and I could not continue working in that environment. So I had just to leave.
Okay. So your relationship with your friends, your family, your wife maybe, was that affected at the time?
My life was affected in general, be it friends, be it family. Everything changed, and I can say after I've gone through a mentorship program, that is when even myself, I accepted myself I accepted my situation and rebuilt my life afresh.
So, yeah, you said you've accepted now the condition. How long did this take before you accepted the condition?
Okay, because this is something that happened in 2008, and between 2008 and 2016, that is when I went through that mentorship program. through an organization called Youth on the Move. So after going through that program for 1 year, that is when I realized, because during that mentorship program, I met so many people living with epilepsy, and we were in the same class, sharing our experiences, and then we went through that mentorship program, and I accepted to that I had the condition and I have to live with it. Life had to continue.
Yes. So I see now that you've accepted the condition and accepted that now life will have to progress with epilepsy.
Mm.
And you took it as to be part of you as well. And I wanted to just find out, would you share if you've seen any positive aspects from epilepsy, or do you feel that there is no any positive side to this?
Okay. During that time, the years I've lived with the epilepsy, I have since I accepted, the only positive thing I can say is that I've been so much involved in creating awareness and I am proud that through me so many people have understood more about epilepsy, and I'm still in that space of advocacy so long as I live.
Wow, that is very good and commendable. You've told us about the start of your journey. You've told us about how you've accepted and creating awareness and information for people. Could you please talk to us about some myths or some misconceptions that people have about persons living with epilepsy? Also, could you please explain to us if someone experiences faints, a persons of epilepsy?
Okay, there are so many myths and misconceptions associated with epilepsy. But these things I usually tell people that those years are gone. Nowadays we have medication for people living with epilepsy. So when you have a relative or a child,
some of those myths that you've had.
When you have a relative or a child with epilepsy, the best thing is to go to the hospital, and from the hospital you will get medication, and some people get healed and get well completely, but some people may have to live with the medication for life, or some for a longer period. Like me, I've lived with the medication for 18 years.
Meaning you are now going to use it for life?
No, I don't know. It's only the doctor who can tell that.
Okay.
So I usually go to clinic once every month, and the doctor will usually assess me, and the doctor will advise me on the progress, how I'm faring on. Then if there's need to reduce the dose, or if there's need to increase the dose, such things.
Okay, thank you. I believe that viewers have gotten all those sentiments that you've shared, And I believe that now their perception about epilepsy is kind of changing. You have to go to the doctor, and the doctor has to do his or her assessment and will decide how to go on. Because we've seen very many doctors are online, they're going to their neighbors asking for help, but it's always important to get information from doctors in the hospital. So now I want to tell us, 18 years you've lived with epilepsy. Could you please talk about, the youth movement organization, the Youth on the Move organization that did the mentorship for you and helped you accept the condition? So this organization, the Youth on the Move, do they only focus on epilepsy, or do they focus on persons with disability as a whole?
Okay, Youth on the Move is an NGO based here in Nairobi. Okay, their main focus on people living with epilepsy, but their mentorship program, they usually involve even people without epilepsy, just as a way of making the society to accept people with people with epilepsy and to learn how to live with them in the society. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I believe that all the viewers have heard everything we've been discussing from the beginning to now. We are going to take a short commercial break, and then we'll be back to continue with the discussion here on studio about epilepsy. Stay tuned. Welcome back, our dear viewers, and let's continue with the discussion that we were having with our guest, Mr. Banard. And we were discussing the topic epilepsy. Now, before we went for the break, you've told us about the experience you've had living with epilepsy for 18 years. You've told us about the organization that helped you to accept your condition, that is Youths on the Move, and the work they do in creating awareness on epilepsy. Now, first of all, before that, I want to know that we have a new constitution, a new bill that protects, we have the constitution. Is there included, does it include or does it involve people with, epilepsy? And was there any participation involved for persons with epilepsy? And is epilepsy part of persons with disability, or are they a different group? Because we have a right, do we have a right in the constitution that protects persons living with epilepsy?
Okay, epilepsy is categorized as a disability, and every benefit that persons with disability get, even people living with epilepsy, are supposed to be included. The only challenge we have is that we have a disability that requires medication, and we have a challenge in getting a medication because our medicines are really very expensive, and you find most of people living with epilepsy, some of them are living in having a severe condition that they are unable to work efficiently like maybe other disabilities. So the challenge we have is that they don't have a way of getting medication. Yeah.
Yes, and do we have in the Constitution any part of the Constitution that protects people with epilepsy? And do we have any rights that are included there? And do the Constitution of Kenya acknowledge epilepsy in it?
Okay, I don't know much about the Constitution, but what I know is that we are part of the disability community. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You also mentioned that the medicine for epilepsy is very expensive. And also, could you please share with us what exactly are some other accommodations that persons living with epilepsy need to be able to access whatever need they need, or what are some of the reasonable accommodations for persons with epilepsy apart from the medicine?
Okay, apart from the medicine, persons with disability, usually when you are living with the epilepsy, like me, for example, there are what we call triggers, and these triggers can make what causes one to fall or get a seizure. So when we are living in a society that is well aware of the life of a person with a disability, then we will not expose people with the disability to this kind of triggers, so that will make them get seizure episodes.
Any other thing? Only that? Is there anything you want to add on that?
Okay, triggers are so many. For example, here in the studio we have these lights. These lights, if they are so bright, they can trigger a seizure for a person with epilepsy. So these are some of the things that if the society is aware, then they will have control of. Then there are several triggers, like a person living with epilepsy is not supposed to experience stress, anger, and excessive excitement. And then there's also that there's anger with A and anger with H. So those are two different triggers that can make some person with epilepsy get a seizure.
Oh wow! Now that is an eye-opener for us, and I believe our viewers as well are learning something. I believe, are these lights now okay? You mentioned the studio lights. Are ours okay, or do you need them released?
No, right now, for me they are just okay, but maybe for another person it can be. So there's a variation. Yeah, it varies from person to person. Triggers are not the same for everybody. They depend on individual. Yeah.
Okay. Now that is the reason why talking about it is very important, because I believe individual needs and community needs with persons with disability. Sometimes we talk about creating awareness and reasonable accommodation for persons with disability. We need to have an initiative ourselves to be able to discuss and know that individuals require different needs. So each person has a responsibility to advocate for themselves, and it is important for us to inform people on what our needs are. So luckily, I know I am saved with these slides and not terrible. Thank you. So also, I just want to thank you for that. Maybe we are almost coming to the end, but I wanted you to just maybe talk about when someone with epilepsy, you've talked about the reasonable accommodation and how to be able to make them access different things. First, you also said that people with epilepsy are also, included in the persons with disability category. Now, does that mean, and I believe that National Council now recognizes you as people with disability, and while there are variations in each person's need as well. You've talked about the lights, you've talked about making sure that there's no stress, no excitement, hunger as well. So a question arises from this. You said the medicine is very expensive. At the same time, you said hunger can also be a trigger for epilepsy. So I just wanted clarification. We have people living around, and what do you recommend to people out there about the medicine? Because some people are from poor backgrounds and people vary, and how will they be able to survive? So do we have alternatives? Do we have alternatives to help these people who are suffering because of lack of medicine? Because not every person is well off and can be able to afford this medicine. And hunger as well is also an issue, especially now with our economy. I know that this is something that affects our country. Could you please advise them how can they survive, or alternatives if there are?
Okay, in relation to acquiring medication, we usually in our advocacy space, we usually advocate for such people with epilepsy to be supported from different well-wishers and different groups or organizations to help support these people so that they can get their medication with ease. Because as we know, most of us do not have meaningful employment or meaningful source of income. So that's why we usually advocate for support for them.
And the article for disability that was just recently signed to law, do they have, does it include persons with epilepsy inside? Because right now we have a new bill that was passed recently, an act that supports persons with and people living with disabilities, and their recommendations in there. Were recommendations from the Epilepsy Society included in that?
Okay, in that bill, I don't know, because it has not been operationalized, so I still don't know if there is any benefit we are going to get as people living with epilepsy. But I would have loved if the government could include people with epilepsy in our social health program, so that we can get this medication either subsidized or free. because I usually see people with HIV get their medication for free. If even people with epilepsy can also be included, so that we get the free medication from the government. Yeah.
Thank you, and I believe that our viewers and government representatives who are watching us have listened to that concern and have noted it as well, and I believe that they will take action on that so that it can help people living with epilepsy to be able to ease in their burden. Today it's me, tomorrow it can be you. So we just want equality and fair for all our country citizens as well. So do you have any last words, because now we've come to the end of the show? Do you have any last words you would want to tell our viewers? Maybe you have something that you want them to know, and you can maybe face up this camera.
Okay. People with epilepsy are categorized as persons with disability, and we are even registered with the National Council as persons with disability. Even myself, I have the disability certificate. So we are any benefit that persons with disability is getting, even people with the epilepsy should also be included. And lastly, I think I'm so grateful for Science TV for the opportunity to help me in my advocacy work. This is a passionate activity that I usually do when I engage the society on issues concerning people with epilepsy, and to create awareness so that society can understand this condition well, so that we cannot continue discriminating persons with disability, and to accept them in the society and to support them whenever necessary. Thank you.
Well, welcome, thank you, and that's why we always say that we have this voice, the Voice Show, to be able to embrace and create awareness about different issues and different topics, as well as changing the perspectives out there about, about different disabilities as well. Please don't forget, when you're here, please share, comment with us your thoughts, and at the same time, inform your friends to tell their friends, so that we can get more traction and information can reach the people needed. See you in the next show. Goodbye.